Yeah, everyone's lonely. Like if you talk to people now, it's for a long time, right? So
Yeah.
so we are now
And
streaming.
everybody's really good about the.
Okay.
Have we got everybody online, or are we good to start?
Yeah, I'm here, but I'm gonna be fading in and out of my camera. I got to take my middle to dance at a park, so I'm gonna be
We
driving.
lost everybody.
But I will be here around.
Marty, did you say you were going to
I
be?
don't know. Everybody got out, so I'm not happening.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I have to drive my middle kid to dance, so
Oh,
in this meeting, so I'm gonna be like dodging in and out of like video camera, but I'll have my sound on. So, anyways, that's what I got for you.
I thought you were going to say we're going to be dodging in and out of traffic.
Well, not true. I mean,
Probably
traffic
should.
is- so,
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, hi Lorraine.
Yep.
Hi. Can you see me?
No, we
I
can't.
don't know.
hear
I
you.
can't hear, guys. It's cutting it bad.
I've been having some problems. Sorry, there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
now we can see you.
Good.
And hi
He's
Val.
having problems.
Yeah, I tried to change my name and I thought I did, but oh well.
There we go. Hello.
Hi. All right, so we're just waiting for Rick, but we might as well get started. And I'll just remind people to, Nicole has started the live streaming. So for those of you that haven't been on our meeting since we've had to shift to the virtual format, we have to live stream our meeting, which means that somebody from the public is able to watch it. Just like if we were downstairs, somebody from the public could come sit in and watch what we're doing. But just wanted to give you a heads up that this does get recorded and then it will be on the website.
Sure.
But I can reassure you that in the entire time I've been with FCSS, which is 15 years, not one person has ever attended one of our meetings. I don't know how many viewers we have at this moment.
Okay, well, let's get started if you guys don't mind. As I say, we're dealing with a dog that's in trouble, so if we can end by a little after 7, that would be great. Is everybody there?
Yes.
Yes.
It keeps cutting out on me, so I'm sorry.
Isn't.
Yeah, we hear you absolutely fine, Marg.
Well, you guys are cutting out on my end, so I don't know. Anyway, should we get started? And
Yep.
Sure.
I think this meeting is mostly you, Kim, so maybe you should lead, or,
Do you want me to do the whole thing?
well, I think it's pretty much over to you, so most of the stuff on the agenda.
All right, let's take it away.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
So sorry, my mic wasn't unmuted, which is a good thing. I heard Councillor Fideko say she has to drive her daughter to a dance practice or recital or something. Maybe we should let her go first.
Yep, we just got to do our business stuff, Lyle, and then she's right first on the agenda. So we'll run through it really quick. So everyone got the agenda? Is there any additions, deletions?
No,
No.
We're good. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I will.
Lorraine, thank you. And all in favor?
sure.
Excellent. Did anyone look at the minutes?
Yeah, I took a quick peek at them. They look good to me.
Yeah.
Perfect. You want to move to adopt the minutes? Mark?
I'll move.
Okay.
Yeah.
And seconder? All in favor, however we want to do the protocol stuff. Awesome. On to committee reports, and it's you, Marnie. How quick was that?
Perfect. That is super fast. I was actually just going to suggest that. I was like, geez, maybe I could go first. Anyways, council has been obviously extremely busy, though it is starting to kind of calm down a little bit now as as things are starting to reopen. Myself, the mayor, and Councillor McFadden are on the Economic Recovery Task Force. So we're trying to look for ways in helping our business community ride out COVID. It's a bumpy ride. We know of quite a few businesses, unfortunately, that aren't going to survive, right? But we're hopeful that we'll be able to make some positive changes, that maybe they'll be able to stick around and ride it out as much as they can. I'm trying to think of what else. We had an update about Colt. All our buses are here. They are being used. So remember, for a period of time, we didn't have all our buses in the fleet, but they are now all here and they're all wrapped and they are all running, which is great news. And Southland is looking at the possibility of connecting service into Calgary. So basically they would run the entire program, kind of like they were always doing, but use our Colt buses. And so there's lots of information that'll be coming forward with that. Again, it'll kind of go through a lot of surveying and figuring out what the best needs are, but I can give you guys the information as to what kind of locations they're looking at. But I believe that there are 4 different locations in Calgary that they're looking at going, which I think will be extremely useful and valuable. So I don't take up too much time. I'm trying to think of what else. Obviously, tax rate has been set. I was probably the only one not necessarily in love with it. I was hoping to see taxes be reduced to 1%, but money was given to Spray Lake Sawmills Family Sports Center, and not because we didn't want to support them, but there were just a lot of questions around their reopening. But now that we've heard from the province that obviously things are opening sooner than later for rec centers, all that's kind of moved up rapidly. So it's definitely been an interesting few weeks with council, I have to say. But it's good. As far as the rec center going, if you are wondering, things are not necessarily all going to open at once. Obviously on Friday, when they get the green light, it's going to take some time. It'll probably be very much a phased approach. I mean, all these areas were not necessarily thinking that they were going to be able to open. And so it's going to take time to get staffing in place, safety protocols in place. What does that look like? But you know what, we're moving forward and we're starting to get back to some level of normalcy. So our numbers have been low for COVID, not only here in the Cochrane Spring Bank area, but Alberta overall. So it's a good news story, but with that also comes a caution that who knows what fall will turn into, right? So we are hopeful. I spent a committee meeting with Sport for Life last night talking about the importance of sport, mental health. So all those things we realize are probably heavy factors, and especially when it comes to FCSS and some of the issues that you guys are dealing with. And I did hear that schools apparently, some schools are going back in September. I haven't heard that all schools are going back, but it's questionable, but it's been a time. So that's all I got probably, at least for now.
Marnie, I have a question for you about Colt. Have they made any decisions about fees yet? I haven't heard anything because it's free right now, right?
Yeah, I haven't necessarily heard of when they're going to restart the fees, but I'll double check and see if it's in their presentation, if we actually have a start date for it. But you know what? Actually, up until the fact that COVID hit, it was actually doing really, really well for numbers. And they've also been able to tweak some of the issues that we first heard about with Colt. Remember when people said it dropped, like they could never get online or book their things? Now with the addition of busing or extra buses, like the full fleet, the fact that they've corrected and, you know, kind of tweak some things, things are running way, way better. Like the amount of concerns or complaints coming forward was drastically reduced. So that was great news to hear. And we do know that it's a valuable service running within the town. So who knows, you know, perhaps when we start that Calgary portion of it, maybe perhaps it allows us to expand our own local service a little bit more, right? So, and I do know for that, you know, transit center is still going forward, the hub, right? So that part will still get built. The innovation center, I think we're still trying to tweak, but yeah, there's lots of stuff going on in the background. And I mean, a lot of it, is money related and funding related and hoping for the best, right? And obviously we know that organizations are really suffering right now. You know, everybody's looking for cash, right? So we're doing our best to stretch some dollars, but it's not going to be an easy couple years or 5 years or so.
Yeah, no, we've heard really good things about Colt, and actually since it's been free, so they've been running the service completely free of charge for residents. We actually were able to pause our taxi program and just encourage people to be on the bus and try to transition people towards that public transit piece rather than relying on taxis. So it's
That
been good.
is that is great to know. I did ask about that in council about the car program as well as Rocky View Handy Bus and whether or not we have enough data. And I don't think we're there quite yet. But whether or not Colt, I don't want to say replace because that sounds harsh, right? But whether or not Colt can take over a majority of this stuff, or whether or not, you know, what other things do we need to look at going forward, so that we're not obviously paying 3 different programs when we have a system running. How can we tweak our own system so that we can address the needs of our entire community, right? So I think that's the biggest thing. But it's good news so far. And, you know, everybody was very supportive, and Devin has done an incredible job on getting that information to council and making sure that we're all up to date. So it's been very positive.
Yeah, COVID actually was great for us. Oh, sorry, Mark.
I was just going to ask, like, Marnie, how are they going to evaluate the Colt statistics, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, against the cars program or taxis? And like, they're going to have it over 6 months or like over a year, or?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a longer period of time. I mean, right now they have, you know, they only have such brief, you know, such brief history, right? I mean, because remember when it first started back in fall, it was free. And then it went to a charge service, right? So obviously there was a drop, a little bit of usership, right? From January to February to early March. And then all of a sudden COVID hits, right? So it's definitely going to take some time to get that data. I don't think it's anything that we're going to see probably, you know, realistically before the end of the year. I think that would be kind of optimistic at this point, depending on how fast life gets back to normal for everybody.
Yeah, well, just you wouldn't want to see them evaluate it on too short a period, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't think you'll see that. I think, you know, we're all going to have to, I mean, everything's going to have to be tweaked right now with funding and how we're going forward. I think that COVID has just thrown a bit of a curveball into all those things. So everybody's going to have to be a little bit patient, and some of the things that we thought we might know, we're not going to know.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions for Marnie? I'm going to take the dead silence as a no. Or Val, did you?
Nope.
Okay. All right. I hate sharing meetings on Zoom, you guys, just for the record.
You're doing great.
Just really wanted to pick it up.
In terms of my report, I made some notes. We have a whole lot of stuff going on. I guess in terms of staffing and team, our team is all continuing to work remotely still. So we've pretty much transitioned everything that we would do in the office to either a virtual platform or telephone support. Our team, they're so incredible. So they have everything that you see. I don't know if you see the virtual program guide or the guide that comes out in the newspaper. That's the majority of the work that's happening from our team. So they're doing programs for interactive early childhood development programs, to parenting groups and education programs, to programs for seniors. They're doing exercise programs to keep seniors engaged and active through Zoom, and the response is incredible. Some of our programs, we have 50 or 60 people actually logging on and participating. So yeah, like they've just done such an incredible job, and the creativity. We, our FCSS team created, usually we do a park and play program in the summer months. They created what they call a stay and play. So they put kits together for families to do with one another. And they actually, you register, they will drop the kit right off at your door. and it has instructions and different things to do as a family to connect. And so really cool, incredible things are happening. I actually anticipate that this is going to change the way that we do things. And our team's already talking about the need to do like a combination of in-person and virtual to make sure that everybody has what they need accessible to them. The other really cool thing that we did, we do interagency meetings 5 times a year, and they're usually attended by like around 40 professionals or whatever. We held our first interagency meeting on Zoom, and we had 50 people attend. So super cool. We all shared updates on what each of our areas are doing and our response. And so it was really great. All our community partners were present. And so we're going to be looking at that as well, and maybe do a couple virtual meetings a year and maybe 3 in-person meetings a year as well. So, and it's cost effective because interagency, we typically provide lunch and it's a lot of work for our team to get ready. So if we switch out a couple of those for virtual, it'll help our budget a little bit as well. Reentry and reopening. So every single department within the town was required to submit plans for to get back in the office. They referred to reentry as being staff going back and working, and reopening as actually providing in-person services to the public. So we submitted our plan. It's being reviewed by senior leadership this week and will go up to the ECC. So we still don't have timelines on what that's going to look like. Our team is so eager and anxious to get back in. Nicole's smirking, but they want to be back in the office so bad. This is so sorry.
You guys are on top. You guys are on top of each other there. How are you going to do the social distancing? Are you going to do some staggered hours for people, or?
Yeah, that's all in our plan. So we'll be dividing into 2 teams most likely, and have one team working on site, one team working remotely until it's safe for us to be back on top of each other again. So yeah, no, we've had solid plans developed, and we're just so anxious. A lot of our team is expressing concern that it's hard to do what we do virtually to provide that support, be able to connect with people. So they're looking so forward to getting back. The other thing that we're working on is strategic planning. So we have hired an external group to help us with the process, and we really need to do this because we've experienced so much change in the past, well, 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, you kind of name it. We've had a lot of changes in our organization. So right from, I don't know if you guys remember, a couple years ago, we ended up taking on the recreation department. And then we were just kind of getting our feet back on the ground, and then our funding changes happened, and then COVID happened. So we were kind of in a state of chaos prior to this. So we're looking at doing some strat planning over the summer months. So looking probably at August, and we'll have to do it virtually like this, but it actually works in our favor because people will be able to log on even if they're out of town or away and be able to participate in the sessions, in the hope that we'll have a plan ready for September is kind of our goal. Which leads me to the Family Resource Network, the other great big thing that we're working on. So the Family Resource Network, you guys all know, but we receive funding to be a hub. And so because we're not in the office and we can't provide services, it's kind of on hold right now. We're still doing everything remotely and providing that support piece, but we're taking this opportunity to renovate the space. So the FRN will be in the old Parent Link Center, but we're removing the indoor playground and we'll be putting in offices there. So our whole team will be able to work out of that space, and essentially it'll become this really amazing, beautiful hub for families that have children birth right up to 18. So the only thing standing in my way is money right now, but I'm going to, sorry?
I said,
I'm
oh
gonna
gee.
I'm gonna go to council, I'm hoping on June 22nd, and see if we can use our reserve funds to go into the renovations. So we need that office space done, and so I'm hoping council will approve it and let us go ahead, and that we'll get renovations done over the summer and be able to open in the fall with that space. The other thing that we're doing is the Social Recovery Task Force. So I think I spoke about this last time, but Mayor and Council initiated 2 task forces. So Marnie talked about the Economic Recovery Task Force, and I'm leading the Social Recovery Task Force. So Susan Flowers and Mayor Janung sit on our task force, along with reps from, we have one from FCSS, Victim Services, Big Hill Haven, Rotary. You're waiting for me to answer these all correctly, Nicole, and I'm watching you smile at me. And some other Activettes, and I think that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
So we're all sitting on this task force, and basically we were put together to determine and support the social recovery of COVID. So our first step is launching a survey, which was put out yesterday. And the survey is designed for residents to be able to provide their feedback on how they were impacted. And we're looking at everything from mental health to housing security, to food security, to financial changes that have happened in their household, whether they be for the worse or for the better. We're just trying to find out, how are people doing as a result? The survey went live yesterday, probably mid-morning, and we have 102 completed surveys already. So 107. Wow. We're watching it every minute. Yeah. So
What's
we're
your
gonna-
base? What's your goal? How many surveys are you hoping to get?
we said 700 was a really lofty goal. That's what we got when we did the Cochrane Cares review, but we also we hired external consultants to be out and doing the work, and it's just us. So essentially our little team on the task force internally is myself, Nicole, and Terry Lauer. So we're trying to pump it out and get it out as much as we can. So I believe Nicole sent you guys all the link to the survey. So I am going to
Yep.
plead with you to do it and to send it to every single person you know that lives in Cochrane or the Western Rocky County. Don't send it out of province, because that's not going to help us. But if you could just help us and get as many people to complete the survey as we
Yep.
can. We really want to get that baseline. And then the last thing, Marnie touched on this a little bit as well, but we're kind of starting budget season with the town of Cochrane. And she mentioned it's a tight year, and we've been told that we've got to be really careful. So we're just putting our staffing needs together. We met as a team yesterday, I guess it was, and did some brainstorming. And we identified a few areas that we really need some support. So one is the youth and family support worker. This is one of the positions that was cut with all of our funding cuts. We lost that position, and we've had to close our Safe Coach youth homelessness program down. So we're hoping that we will get some town support to be able to continue that intensive youth support for the community. The other thing that was identified was the need for support in the areas of grant writing, reporting, and evaluation. Our team writes 5 million reports. This month alone, I have six, 5 financial and 1 outcome report. So we do this off the side of our desk. So one of our dreams is to have support in that area, but when we looked at priorities, we're gonna focus on the youth piece and make sure that our community needs are met. And then we're gonna put our grant writing evaluation person on kind of that back burner, and hopefully one day we'll get that position filled. So yeah, that's kind of a big giant overview of the main things that we're working on. Are there any questions for me?
No, it sure sounds like you guys have been busy though.
Yeah, it's been it's been a little wild and it's hard. I don't know if you guys have found in your lives, but like I used to just walk around the office and I could talk to everybody and I could just by looking at them know how they were doing. It was a 5-minute conversation and I could do all the things that I needed to do to connect. And it doesn't work that way now. It's tricky. We did kind of some
I'm
welfare.
finding,
Oh, sorry.
I'm finding that, well, I'm finding too that you tend to put in longer hours
Oh, yeah.
and, you know, which it was better when you could just walk away sometimes.
It's very true. And our team is so, for those of you that have come in the office, you know, like we talk, we hug, we're very social, supportive, like team kind of people. So this has taken a toll on a lot of our staff and people are feeling pretty isolated. And so we were getting a little bit worried. We did some checks on everybody last week or the week before where we put together just a little care package. They were super cute. I think I actually have one left over. I can show you. But we delivered little things that just said, remember to take care of yourself. You can't pour out of an empty cup. And then we did little coffee card and chocolates for everybody on our team and actually went and delivered them to people's houses so we could look at their faces and know that they were actually doing okay. So, but yeah, we're so excited to get back in the office when we can do that. Awesome. All right. Well, do you want me to just keep going, Mark?
Yeah, you might as well keep going. What was it next? It's the, I went and took classes.
Oh, FCSS and United Way grants. So I
Yeah,
believe
that were deferred.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember when we did the grant applications, we approved and recommended funding for all of the different programs. And then we kind of sat back and said, oh no, we can't actually put through all of these grants because 3 of them were from the Parent Link and the Resource Center. And we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't have,
Yeah.
we just knew funding was going to be cut. We didn't know if we were going to be granted approval for a family resource network. So we spoke to Ledge Services and they said, just put them on hold and wait until you actually know what's going on. So we did that for the Parent Link Counseling Program, the youth counseling program, and the Roots of Empathy program. So I've put together a grant application on behalf of the FRN. It does have my name on it only because we don't have a Family Resource Network coordinator and I'm leading that project and I didn't know what else to do. I can put a different name on it if it's better, but really I'm kind of responsible for the funding. But our vision is to amalgamate the PLC counseling program and the youth counseling program into one larger program that will be operating underneath the Family Resource Network umbrella. And that counseling program will serve families 0 to 18, their parents, as well as children and youth that require counseling as well. So we did submit that application to you guys. I don't know if there were questions around the application, if we want to start there or what people thought about it.
The only question I have, we did assign money to both of those.
Yes.
So are you thinking that even though you combine it, you'll still need most of that funding, or do you
Yeah.
see some opportunities there? Or?
No, I think especially currently right now, both of the funding will be important. We've been continuing to do the Parent Link counseling program and we're maxed right now. So families are, especially with COVID, under increased levels of stress. The family conflict is increasing incredibly. Parenting stress is increasing incredibly. And the youth dollars, with us losing that Safe Coach program and not having that intensive support, I feel especially for this year is going to be critically important. Hopefully we'll get support from the town potentially for next year, but this will provide us with a bit of a buffer just to make sure we have some intensive support services for our youth too.
Yeah, sounds fair. Okay.
Any other questions for me? So basically I took the 2 grant applications and I mooshed them.
Yeah,
It's a strategic thing that I did. Doesn't sound super strategic, but there was some strategic mooshing going on, you guys. So I guess what I would, well, and there's one other thing that I wanted to talk about was the Roots of Empathy funding. That was how much, Nicole? 4,500? I believe so. So we still have $4,500 left over from the funds from last year, and these are funds that haven't been allocated to anywhere. I wanted to see what the board thought, or if they have ideas or anything for these funds. There's a couple options. We could allocate it towards a particular group that you felt needed additional support, or we could hold them over for next year and add that to our grant pot of giving out funds next year.
May I make a suggestion just from my perspective?
Mm-hmm.
So holding the funds over, we have no idea what next year is going to bring. We don't have any idea what June and July are going to, or July is going to bring. So maybe just holding on to them, Kim, it would be my vote to, there is not any doubt that we're going to be underfunded. The town is under some pressure. The province is under some pressure. FCSS will be under some pressure. I would tuck it away and make a decision even in a month, 2 months.
For sure. Maybe what we could do is come back to our September meeting, and we can bring data from the task force and what families are facing and some of those primary issues, and then we can make a decision at that time. Does that sound fair?
yeah, and perhaps too, you'll have a better feel for what's happening in the community and where funds might possibly be needed.
Absolutely.
You know, maybe there are. I think that's a great idea.
Okay. So in terms of, we'll hold those dollars over, and then we'll revisit that in September. And in terms of the counseling program, are you in support of providing the FRN those dollars? The counseling dollars? It turns out to be, I want to say 16.5. Am I right? Okay.
16.5. Yeah.
So open to discussion and debate on that piece. And then once we receive approval from the board, we still have the step to go to council for that approval piece as well, in order to get money transferred over to the Family Resource Network.
Do we need a motion to support this?
Yeah.
So I would move that we support the application for the funding that you've put in as it's put in, Kim.
Thanks, Lyle. Is there someone that's willing to second?
Well, I just had a couple of questions on it, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, let's do that first, Mark, because you might shift people's minds.
Okay.
Well, I think Gressel wanted to say something, so let's hear from Gressel.
I passed through your proposal, and I was just thinking if how we can directly engage the registered, the groups, community groups in Cochrane, so they can freely avail the programs and activities of the said programs. Like while we have this social media and leaflets and brochures to promote these things, I would see, because there are cultural barriers, that allow them to actively participate and avail of these programs. So if we can just maybe directly link with them. I mean, that's my job, of course, but we have, you know, officers and members of the board for them also to be engaged in that particular program. So maybe we can communicate with them. And I understand that there are certain groups already established here in Cochrane, the Filipino community, the what they call this one, the other communities here. Yeah. So this is my proposal. If we can have a clear link, or we can just communicate to them clearly.
That the funds would be available, Gressel, do you mean?
I mean, your proposal, if once granted, I would like to see a clear link. If we can directly invite them to participate and indulge with the programs and projects. I was mentioning because we have a number of programs, but my community, for instance, rarely avail this one because of some cultural barriers. They may be afraid or not so open to these programs because they are still adjusting, particularly those who are just arrive here. Or we can do it through the CISC, the Cochrane Immigrants Community Services Group.
May I,
No,
may I
we-
respond?
Sorry, Lau, go ahead.
Thanks, Kim. So Gressel, just for understanding, you make a really good point, and the more we can involve as many people as possible, the better. But you mentioned twice the cultural barriers and is your question that there's cultural barriers to accessing the programs or knowing about them?
They know, but sometimes, particularly Filipino communities, they have this barrier that they may be not open to access. I mean, they're not open to indulge themselves with those services. I cannot explain, but there is a unique culture in them that even though they are in the verge of collapse, or they are still needing somebody to invite them and get them to be near to the services.
Yeah, I got you. Thanks for the explanation. It would be my thought on Gressel's point is I think your point is incredibly important to us. Each one of us on this board has, if not a legal responsibility, we have a bit of an unwritten moral responsibility to make sure that we advertise ourselves, our programs, that we've talked about this many times about being advocates for everything we do. And certainly, Gressel, if you need some support or some help, I will do whatever I can to help you involve. And just as an example, your direct community in all of these programs. I would be a little reluctant that we would become too top heavy trying to make decisions by involving large groups too early in the process. You can bog it down. But again, anything that I can do to support helping your community get involved, feeling comfortable with these programs, I would. Everybody knows what a great seller I am, right? It's probably not my face you want to see in the community, but I'll do what I can if I can help.
Yeah, thank you.
And Gressa, we talked about this a little bit too, and a bit of it is fear, right? Fear of walking through our doors, fear of the unknown, what's going to happen. So we can definitely work together and see how do we break some of those barriers. Sometimes the best thing, and I know you're an incredibly busy man too, but if you know people that are fearful, just walking through the door with them and getting them in through that first time is that's the hardest step, is opening that door that very first time and asking for help. And then it becomes more natural. So I think if we could work together and support some of your like vulnerable people and get that support, then word's going to spread and people are going to talk and say, hey, I went to that blue building and they're not so bad there. Right. And that's quite often how it works, is somebody going in and getting helped and then telling their friend or their neighbor that they can get that support and service. So we'll talk more and try to figure out what we do.
Yeah, I would like also to announce that the community received this month their certificate of incorporation by the province. And so I remember last time that they were able to apply for the grant from the FCSS through an organization from Calgary. And I believe.
I'm sorry, Gress, cutting
Yeah.
out quite a bit. I can hardly hear.
Sorry, March. So the grant through the Philippine Festival Council of Alberta, they were able to receive $50,000, and 5,000 of that were given to Cochrane community, Filipino community, and bought around 140 bags for distribution this coming Friday.
That's really great, Crystal. Is the $5,000 enough? Has that met the needs?
It's a one-time distribution of goods, but we were able to give it to the most vulnerable families in Cochrane. And last week of May also, in collaboration with other organizations from BAM, Canmore, they came here also to add up to some goods from the food bank. And we were able to distribute it also to families and to those groups who I mentioned that they are out of status and no job at all. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Thanks, Crystal. Marg, you had a few questions too, right? Marg, can you hear me?
There,
gonna-
can you hear me?
I was going to just say I'm off the hook, Marg. Yes, we
No,
can hear
this
you.
has been cutting out something terrible for me. Didn't hear any of what Gressel said. I'm sorry.
So no, you're coming through loud and clear for us now.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but everything's cutting out pretty bad. We just lost our cable too.
Oh, okay. Do you have questions for me about the grant, Mark?
Kim, I think we may have to assume, I know that Mark has problems because of her connection, so we may lose her altogether.
Okay. Maybe what do we do procedurally then, Nicole?
Sorry, guys, I'm having.
If Marg, if you want to try to leave and then come back, sometimes that will help a lot. And then
Oh, okay.
if we want to, I don't know if we want to talk about,
Just jump ahead.
yeah, and then when Marg comes back, we can go through her questions about the application.
So one of the things that I know other groups have done in these meetings is if we drop our video, you open up bandwidth, right? I don't know.
Oh, that's true.
So we don't all have to fade out. I would suggest that the speaker stay on for sure. Kim, maybe you stay on, but if the rest of us drop out the video conferencing, and that may free up some space for Marg.
How's that, Mark? Does that make things a little bit better?
Yeah, we may not, it may not make a difference.
So what I'll do, I'm just going to jump ahead and then we'll see if Mark's able to jump in when she can. I'll just skip that area with the motions and stuff because I think we need to hear Mark's questions before we say it's all good. So I'm just going to jump ahead to review the current grant applications that were altered for a COVID-19 response. So Nicole sent those out to everybody as well. At the last meeting, we recommended getting in touch with all of the groups that we funded to see if their service delivery had shifted to, well, I'm trying to remember the exact questions that we have, if they adapted their program, if, and ask them to describe the changes, and also ask the question whether they anticipated to have a surplus or not. We did receive information back from majority of the groups, and everybody, with the exception of Seniors on the Bow, said that they believe that they will be spending all of their dollars. Everybody has adapted their programs, of course, to meet the needs of residents during COVID. So I know it went out to everybody and people probably had a chance to look through. Did anyone have any questions?
Seniors on the Bow, why are they the only ones? The others of all are going to spend? Is there something that we can help with, or is there something that is happening for them?
Seniors on the Bow fully shut down their doors and they actually laid off. They only have one staff person and they actually
Oh,
that individual off. So they've been closed right since March. I don't even know the date, but mid-March. So we will be working with them to open. I do anticipate once they get their doors open, they will spend their dollars, but they were just being completely honest, saying our doors are currently closed, and they are doing programming. We're working with them and doing some different programs, and they're calling all their members, but they're doing that using volunteers. So they're not actually spending a lot of money right now.
and what's happening with Helping Hands?
They're doing absolutely incredible. They're right on track. They've actually are doing their driving program again. They had to cancel their big food drive, but they've rescheduled and are doing 5 different smaller food drives in different areas of the community. So they start this week, I believe, this weekend up in Glen Eagles, and then it'll be rotating through different communities to gather food. Yeah, they're still reaching out and doing grocery deliveries, and they're incredible.
Can I answer some of that?
Yes, please
The
do.
direct position. Oh,
I do know that we are going out, we've got some protocols for accessing a lot of our vulnerable citizens like the seniors and that, but we are doing yard maintenance for some of the seniors. We are doing, I'm doing some home repairs again. So it did slow down for a bit, Mark, but it seems to me that we're back working now. I see the requests coming in. The director of the organization, I don't know if you're aware, Matthew is not with them anymore. And we have our old leader back, which is just seems to be really good news for us, and things seem to be going back to normal. We're getting more requests, so it looks good.
but isn't Jackie working already? So how can she can't do this for long, I don't think.
Yeah, I can't answer that. I do. I just mentioned that I haven't seen her physically. Our lead person there is doing what I would consider a great job. Seems to be seamless. So whether she's carrying the load or whether it's Jackie, don't know. But
No,
the
okay.
thing is, the services to me, from my perspective, seem to be getting provided again, and
Yeah.
I'm busy with them anyway. So I'm just saying it looks good.
So Kim, are they going to post for that director position, or how are they gonna handle that?
That I'm not sure. I know Jackie is stepping in interim, so I'm not sure when they plan to post. I'm assuming it's after COVID, and once we can start doing that face-to-face kind of stuff, that they they may look at it, but I honestly can't speak on behalf of them, Mark. I'm not sure what their plan is. Jackie's doing an incredible job though, and so is Shara. Like, they're dynamite.
Nice.
So Mark, we have you back. Do we want to jump back to the previous grants, and do you want to ask the questions that you wanted to ask?
Well, I didn't hear any of what Gressel added to it, so I don't know that I, what he brought up, and I apologize. My poor little phone, I think, was overheating. I'm not sure.
No worries. Are there specific questions around the grant that you had, Mark?
Well, where you were saying that, like, we want to bring what was your proposal again?
Counseling, the counseling services for families with
Was
children
that
under 18.
that is all for like staffing, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So how many hours is this going to get us, I guess? Is it, are they even going to be able to do a fair amount of counseling?
Yep, absolutely. And I think what this will do is open it up, because we have two different individuals that have been hired through the different programs. So it's going to offer options for families, for youth. So yeah, we'll be able to tap into different professionals and won't just rely on one person like both programs traditionally were. But I think it'll get us
Okay.
through, and then hopefully with our staffing request, that'll help to fill in some of the youth gaps too.
Okay, because maybe it's something we should flag for the extra funds that we will have, depending on what happens.
Yeah, well, let us see how it goes. We're anticipating our call volume is going up. Conflict amongst youth and their parents is on the increase. That's been flagged. So we're anticipating that this is going to be a big area, but I do think that we would have the resources there, Mark. And if not, I can come back in September and let you know. But I feel pretty confident that this would get us through for the year.
Well, I think that's fair. If you give us an update in September, I think that would be good. How does
Okay.
everybody else feel? I know we heard from Gressel and Lyle. What about the others? How are they feeling?
I would really like to hear more too in September, because I'm new at this and COVID's caused a problem, but yeah, I would like to learn more.
For sure.
Okay.
Excellent. So
Val,
then,
Ryan?
I also would like to hear more in September.
Okay. Okay, so we're all in agreement then to go ahead?
Seems like it.
Sorry, I'm talking to an unmuted micro or a muted microphone. Yes, that sounds great.
I was doing that earlier too.
I can.
so Lyle put a motion originally on the floor. So I would just need somebody to second the motion.
I'll second Lyle's motion.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So then the next step is to go to council, because they have to do the final approval on the board recommendations for funding. I should be able to get in on the June 22nd council meeting. Marg, would you want to do the presentation to council, or would you prefer that I do it? Should I even open up that can of worms, Marg?
Well, I don't mind doing that. I'm happy to go with you. I'm helping to help do the presentation. That's something we can maybe talk about more.
So
but
it
sure.
would be online if they do their meetings virtually.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, we can take it offline. I do have to, if we can get in for the June one, I need to let them know by Friday, so I could reach out to you tomorrow or Friday, see if you're interested in doing that one.
Sure, just send me an email.
Okay, sounds good. So where are we? We've pretty much finished reviewing the current grant application. Yeah.
Can we motion to hold the Roots of Empathy money?
Oh, for sure. Okay, so we will need a motion to hold over the Roots of Empathy money and revisit that in the fall.
I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Mark. And a seconder?
I second the motion.
Thanks, Gressel. So I'm trying to remember. I don't know if we wrapped up B, you guys.
I think we're on to canceling the midterm project reporting.
Okay, so that's our recommendation, because we did send out this gathering of information to our groups to see where everybody's at and what they're doing. We just recommend not doing a call out for the midterm reports.
I think everyone would be online with that.
We need a motion though, Nicole, do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can make that motion.
I
Thanks.
second it.
Is that good, Nicole?
Yeah, we're good. Gotcha. I gotcha.
And then the next thing is we also, although when did we do that, Nicole? It was September, was it? Yes.
Yes. It was
So-
June.
Oh, okay.
That's why, because we were thinking virtually for the mix and mingle is what we're mentioning, right?
Great. So,
Yeah. Supposed to be
Yeah.
June.
So in the past, we did a mix and mingle with our FCSS team because we think it's important that you guys get to know our staff and our team and get to know faces and get a chance to talk to people about the programs and services that they operate. We don't know how to do that virtually because
Yeah,
it would just be
I would
awkward.
want to do it virtually. I think we need to have a meeting in that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just recommending postponing until we know what the future is of actually being able to get that many of us in a room.
Yes.
You guys agree with that?
Yep. Yep.
I agree.
All right, and then ongoing business COVID-19 response and update. I don't have a whole lot, actually. I pretty much put it all into my manager's report. We are still working underneath the emergency social services structure. So we're still divided into the 3 pillars of primary services, family support, and housing and homelessness. And I anticipate that we'll be under this structure for another, probably till the end of July is what we're looking at. So things are just going.
Okay.
And waiting to hear about reentry. So I don't have a whole lot of updates there.
Okay.
And then the last
So
thing
we're
is
just,
correspondence. So Nicole sent out May newsletter and achievement award information to you guys. And then I guess just a round table. I don't know who wants to start. Gressel. Oh, you're muted, Gressel.
Firstly, I would like to thank the FCSS, particularly, I'd like to mention Kim. Yeah, I've been undergone, hard times for the past few, because of COVID. And yeah, I appreciate much the personal calls and give me a ray of hope and to link with some resources and of course also to Natalie, who made a number of calls to me and research for my case. Unfortunately, CRA is firm on its decision not to grant me because of my case. I was not able to avail the one. While the love, the words, and give me the spirit to go. And I thank you very much. That served me as an inspiration and to, of course, indulge myself, make myself busy by doing service to the community, particularly my group. and also outside the Cochrane by linking myself to other organizations like the uh, Alberta Men's Network, where we educate some families and fathers how to become father, ideally, online. So we're surviving, and again, thank you very much. So I would like just to reiterate that the Filipino community is now registered, and whatever opportunity for them to avail services again, because I'm not an officer of the organization. My only link is, of course, everybody that we only communicate through, particularly now through uh, the social media. And I would like to link them with you personally, particularly, I think Nicole knows Edwin Aguata, and they really need some assistance on handling their affairs, and they need trainings on this and finances particularly. So our worry now is, of course, we cannot meet personally now, so maybe we can do it on Zoom or whatever platform we have available. So yeah, we are starting to do things rolling with the new normal, as we call it. So that's everything for me now.
Thanks, Crystal. You guys stay strong.
Yeah, strong.
That was good. Who's next? Anybody next?
I'll go.
Okay.
There's not been a lot going on, obviously. But I did get propositioned to go back to Kindred, and they voted me in as the vice president there. So that's really good.
Nice.
Renita is now the president, which is awesome. Renita is so good at everything. So it's really exciting, the things she's going to do for the Cochrane Pride group. And that's pretty much it.
So you're happy to be back with them?
I am, yeah. She's changed a lot of stuff, and it looks like there's a really bright future there. So I'm excited to
nice.
see what happens.
Okay, well, you'll keep us up on the events that they're planning, if and when we can do those kinds of things.
Yeah, I'm holding a live video bingo session next Friday. So we actually email bingo cards to whoever signs up, and I got this bingo game here, and I'm gonna do it over Facebook Live. So
Oh, nice, nice.
yeah, just something to keep people involved.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, I'll go next. We're still working from home, which has been a new experience in itself, and it has some huge positive sides and some huge downsides. But it is going to be interesting to see what the new normal will be. And we haven't had any word yet from the government on when they want to see us back in the office. We're just going to play it by ear and see what happens, but it's interesting. And I know that the dogs are driving me crazy, but hey, beyond that, it's good. Who's next?
I'll go next. I just want to wish everybody a safe summer, and I'll see you in September.
There's Marnie.
I can go if you want.
Okay.
Nothing too exciting to report. Just lots of work. Work never seems to end, but it's been good. I mean, it'd be exciting to see how things all transition. But like I said, it's I don't know. It's just such a strange time that I obviously hope that people are getting their own mental stability and mental health, but yet we don't end up back on lockdown, and that's going to be hard to say right now. So, just be kind, be helpful, be supportive. I guess that's all I got to say. It's all those things that we already do anyway. So
Yeah.
There we go. I'll jump in. I don't have too much to add either, except to wish everybody a healthy, quiet summer. Most of us have, at least in our household, are working now. I was off work for 2 months, and I went back right after the long weekend in May. So I can't do anything virtually, so I cooked
Yeah.
for 8 weeks.
Oh. Oh, nice.
Sourdough, and I'll leave you with a chuckle because I hopped on the sourdough bandwagon and was trying busily to figure out what to do with all this extra stuff that you're supposed to not keep. I really will never do this again. And found that the inside of my oven was a nice place to keep it warm to grow until you forget to tell the one person who's coming home to make themselves dinner. So the Ziploc containers melted in the oven, and that ended the sourdough adventure. And other than that, everyone's stayed healthy.
That's cute.
Yeah, so I went back to work, I don't know what, a month ago, thereabouts. So yeah. And that's, so everyone have a healthy summer, and I'm sure we'll be seeing each other in person in the fall.
Well, thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Where are we at now? Kim, what about you?
I think Lyle just unmuted. We'll let Lyle jump in.
I
love
thought he just
pay attention. It's got to be because of your job. You notice everything. So I've got nothing to report. I am feeling, as I said last time, really guilty because this isolation is just right up my alley, and I'm having a great time. And I, at the same time, know that there's got to be a lot of people in Cochrane who need more help, and I'm feeling really bad because I'm not delivering. Nobody's asking. So if you know anybody out there that that is hurting, I'm here. The second thing was directly to Gressel, just in support of your efforts, Gressel. Since knowing you, I've done some research on the Filipino community, and I had no idea how important they are to Canada. They represent, I do believe, the second largest group in Canada. And if there's anything that I can do with your group in helping, just ask, and we'll do what we can. That's all I've got. Weather's good.
You give a house and let, Lyle?
Sorry, Gressel, ask me that again.
Do you give house and let?
Yeah, we can stack them up as deep as you want, buddy. You just know though that nobody's going to stay more than about one night, maybe max two, and they're going to say, "Yeah, that's not where I want to be," right?
Yes, thank you very much, Lyle. Thank you.
Me.
Okay. How about Kim? Oh, Nicole, there we are. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, same thing as everybody. I hope everybody has a happy, fun, safe summer and gets to spend some time outside and gets to do a few things that they would like to do, but being safe while doing it. So we can all meet in September.
Yes.
I'm excited that school is almost over.
Oh,
you and me both.
I don't envy you.
Right?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right, last but not least, and I'll be quick. So this Friday, my baby boy is turning 18 years old, and he's graduating this year. So you guys, I have successfully launched 3 children out into the real big world, and my job is almost done. Oh my God. I know it's not really, because I have like almost 20 and almost 22, and I'm still looking after them like they're 5. But yeah, huge memento kind of in my house and this time. So yeah, and same thing. I hope everybody has a great summer. Stay safe. Please reach out if there's anything that we can do for you. Gressel, you and I will be in contact, and I'll hear what happened and see what else we can do for you. So yeah, have a really
Okay,
good
and
summer, and
we can use back and forth if that's needed, so we can always stay in touch.
sounds good. And September 9th is our next meeting, and we'll be in touch and let you know if we can do an in-person one. I hope we can.
Yeah, me too. I do prefer those. My little phone is hard to hang on to. Well, everybody stay safe.
You bet. Take care, everyone. Have a good summer.
Take care,
Bye.
Bye-bye.